And there's some discontent about that one too. It sure looked like Darryl Johnson got tugged as he was trying to get out there to catch that pass. But the official, certainly much closer down on the field, did not see anything that would impede the progress of Johnson receiving that ball.
Sometimes, Walt, after that big play, it's tough to think of something else that gets you into the end zone, and that's what Norristown has to do right here.
Yeah, and again, they're trying to mix it up. They're trying to throw to a few different receivers. But right now, they need a 7-yard play. And the one thing they have been good at doing this year is converting third downs and running the routes to the first down marker.
Blake, back to pass. He is sacked. Number 58, captain for Truman, Brian McArdle. Of a timeout taken by Norristown. A huge play by Truman. Brian McArdle got in there, and Blake couldn't find a receiver and sacked for a loss.
Chris Blake never felt it coming. It came from the blind side. Troy Swittenberg was over there to block, but let's be fair. I mean, Troy Swittenberg at 180 pounds is not going to be any sort of match for a guy like Brian McArdle once he beats the lineman. And McArdle just shook off Swittenberg and jumped on Blake's back. Boy, what a time for the first sack of the game for the Truman Tigers.
Then we're going to have about a 4th and 11 for Norristown. Coach Grove got to think of something here. It's got to have that play right in the back of the book that says we're getting 11 yards out of it, and it's got to be right here because, as you said, Walk, there may not be a next week if they don't get it here.
And the advantage you do have is that you have a strong-arm quarterback in Chris Blake, so it doesn't have to be anything fancy or anything timed. You can have guys run routes and have Chris Blake look around for that open man and zip it right in there. So you only need a little bit of separation, and Chris Blake has been really on target with his receivers this year, and no play is any bigger than this one right here.
All right, well, looking at the biggest play of the season here for Norristown. 3 receivers. Blake under center. He drops back to pass. Looking for the end zone. Terrell, incomplete. Turnover on downs. Truman gets the ball. With 4:24 left in the 4th quarter, that ball just out of the reach of Ernie Terrell.
Yeah, Terrell got turned around a little bit, but that's a real tough play call for a couple of reasons. One, Ernie Terrell's been in the game for 1, maybe 2 plays this game. It's nice that you have a different guy in there that Truman maybe is not familiar with, but Ernie Terrell is not going to be as sharp as some of your other receivers to make that adjustment, and he certainly did have to make an adjustment on that play as Chris Blake, again, as he does so well, throws it to the sideline, but in that case, well, you can't take the chance and really put it on your receiver to do it. You have to find that open guy and zip it right in there to him, maybe something over the middle.
So now Norristown defense need a 3 and out, need it quick. Up the middle to Slemmer. He may have gotten a couple.
And Greg, obviously the Central Bucks West game here with Norristown being close and head coach Mike Pettin going for his 300th win was obviously very electric, but that was some other outside circumstances that were causing that game to be so exciting. In this case, you see a Norristown crowd that's really trying to encourage these guys and really trying to help them out and get into the game. And I think that speaks to the likability of this Norristown team. They never let down, and they've really worked hard and been consistent all year long. It's a team that you can really like.
Thinking down outside to Slemmer. He's tackled once again. You can tell that John Slemmer is getting the ball because he's the one with the dirty uniform. He has been tackled so many times tonight. We've called his name a lot. He has been the horse back there for Truman. It's now Truman using every second of the play clock.
And Norristown right here has to be careful of Trevor Smith. I don't know if Truman will be so bold as to put the ball in the air with the lead right down here, but they may pretend like they're going to, and watch out for Trevor Smith handling the ball. Yeah, and Truman had a lot of confusion that time. They had about 5 guys running in and out into the huddle. And this is not a time for confusion, certainly. So they're going to wisely use a timeout here. They certainly don't want to stop the clock. But as you said, Greg, they did use a lot of the play clock before they called that timeout. So good use of the clock so far.
Appears as if they were running a shuttle service back and forth. See two guys come on and then, nah, we don't like those two guys. We'll stick two more guys on the field. So,
yeah, that may have certainly just been planned just to try and confuse the Norristown defense and then call your timeout. And they did let the clock run down to very close to the end of the play clock and then use their timeout. And they've gotten it under 3 minutes now, so a first down here would be devastating to the Norristown Eagles. But Truman's got a tough task to convert.
The biggest defensive stop of the year right here for Norristown. Trying to give their offense one more chance. They've given them a lot tonight. Norristown offense just has been unsuccessful.
And the beauty of the schedule in the Power 10 is that a team like Truman, 1-6 in the league, can play spoiler to a 6-1 team like the Norristown Eagles.
3rd and 9 for Truman. We have a flag stopping the play. False start on Truman.
And that's another play that I just don't get. I mean, you're coming out of a timeout. The mistakes are in such strange places. You're coming out of a timeout. You know, everybody's got to know the stat count. Everybody's got to know where they're going, and they've executed so well tonight. Their linemen have really been good off the ball, excellent timing, but right there is not the time when you really expect that mistake, even though obviously they're trying to get the that extra push.
Norristown got to play this like 3rd and 9. Can't afford to give Truman any room here. And a good thing about a stop here would be you get good field position.
And the other thing that happens, Greg, is that Truman just gave away their play. They had a play design that maybe they thought was a 9-yard play. Now, not only do they have to come up with a 14-yard play, but they also have to come up with another play. So right now, Norristown saw a little bit of what they were planning to do, and that false start cost Truman in a couple of ways.
It's now Truman on 3rd and 14, we'll call it, with 2:49 left in this 4th quarter. Smith rolls outside. He is not going to get it. Troy Ellis, Yaboa Cabol, Darryl Johnson, all in on the stop. Norristown offense going to get one more shot.
Yeah, Yaboa Cabol flattened him. And the Norristown offense could use a little bit of that juice that the defense just provided. Trevor Smith has no interest in throwing that ball, and he probably has no interest because his coach told him, hey, Trevor, don't put the ball in the air right here. He was running the whole time, and the Norristown defenders read that, specifically Cabold and Ellis, and they just drove right through Trevor Smith. He got nothing on that play.
Start the clock.
So now 4th down. Punting for Truman will be number 19, Michael St. Martin. Backer Stewart and Edmonds. Audley Stewart will take it at the 40. Ball's on the ground, and Audley Stewart falls on the ball.
And it's real clear what happened right there, Greg. That whole right side was wide open on sort of a line drive kick from St. Martin. And Audley Stewart never took his head off the sideline, never took his head off of where he was going, and he ran right past that ball. And then obviously in the panic to pick it up, he just had to fall on it. So smart play at the end to fall on it, but boy, Norristown could have had easily 10 more yards upfield, but Audley Stewart couldn't catch the ball.
Well, here it is, folks. Kids say it enough times. This is it for Norristown right here. Blake back to pass. Finds Solomon. Good first play call right there. Quick hit to Solomon on the outside and get him out of bounds. Stop the clock.
Now you want to see senior leadership. Now you're going to see it. If anything's going to happen here, it's going to be Chris Blake running the drive. And boy, Damian Solomon, every time you see him, he's more impressive. He just looks like a pro-style receiver. Catches the ball like it, he turns like it, he knows exactly what to do with the ball.
2nd and 4 for Norristown. Backs in the eye. Blake, 3-step drop. Quick one to Edmonds. Makes a little move, gets the first down. Two quick passes from quarterback Chris Blake. Now Norristown in their hurry-up offense. Just over 2 minutes left. Norristown from the 25-yard line of Truman. The draw play to Swittenberg. Swittenberg gets to the outside. He's inside the 20-yard line. Number 51, Troy Ellis out there blocking for him.
And again, you run those 2 plays, and the Truman defense starts thinking, uh-oh, this is that passing game we've been looking for all game. This is the one we saw on tape and we were afraid of. And then, boom, here comes Swittenberg with the draw play inside the 20.
An important 19 yards to get into the end zone here. Chris Blake, back to pass. Looks up top for Edmonds. Touchdown! James Edmonds in the end zone. A great ball from Chris Blake. Ladies and gentlemen, the Norristown Eagles have taken the lead with 1:24 left in the 4th quarter.
Nobody all year has been able to handle either of those guys one-on-one. James Edmonds or Damian Solomon. Unfortunately tonight for Rondell Bradley, he's drawing the assignment of sticking James Edmonds, and he just can't handle him one-on-one. And Chris Blake just throws a beautiful ball once again. James Edmonds uses his body so well in the corner of the end zone. And Chris Blake, boy, it looked like he dropped that thing straight down from the sky right inside that pylon. And what great concentration by number 17, James Edmonds. There's your senior leadership for you. Chris Blake just ran a beautiful drive, albeit only 4 plays. But boy, every play had a purpose. You could just see it planned. And this was the thing that Norristown was waiting for. This was the drive that they needed, really the first big drive that they've had. I know they beat Council Rock in overtime last week, but that overtime is going to go forever until somebody scores. In this case, they had all the plays set up right here. They set up the Truman Tigers for this very drive, and man, Norristown sure looked lackluster early, but when they had to do it, they went to what they've done all year. Short passes through the air, and then go deep and let your players make the plays.
A real smart drive from Norristown right there. They will be going for 2 here. The extra point would make no difference. It would still be a 2-point lead. You get the 2-point conversion, that puts you up by 3. A field goal, all a field goal does is tie it then. So this is a smart play call by the Norristown Eagles. So now Chris Blake, 2 receivers, Edmonds and Solomon. Back to pass. Pass is broken up out there. That's a good recovery there by number 20. Rondell Bradley just get a piece of that ball and break up that 2-point conversion.
I like the play call, though. I like going to the air there. And they had a few guys out there. It looked like Blake had a choice and tried to go to the wide man, and Bradley that time made the adjustment on the ball.
So now with $1:24 left in this game, folks, you've asked your defense to do it all year. You've asked your defense to do it especially tonight. They have to do it again.
Yeah, and let's even trim that down more. They really asked them to do it in the 4th quarter. They put up 2 stops, and the offense finally rewarded them with the big points. But that defense was they were being moved in the first 3 quarters. They were absolutely being moved. And then when it was time to step up, boy, they got somebody up there got fired up. That's all you can say, because Schlemmer, Smith, those guys just all of a sudden started to disappear. And the Norristown offense, and it was the Norristown defense, excuse me, was capped off by that leveling of Trevor Smith by Yeboah Cabold and Troy Ellis. Like we suggested, Greg, the offense could take a little bit of juice out of that, and they certainly did.
So Norristown special teams got to come up big right now. Got to make sure that they don't give up good field position here. Kevin Qualley is the kicker for Norristown. Well, a little bit of nail-biting excitement time here.
I'll tell you what, Truman still got a minute 24. They have a little bit of time, but Norristown could not have waited any longer to score that touchdown.
You ask them tomorrow morning, they'll say, "Oh yeah, we planned that." So now Kevin Qualley is the kicker. A low kick, fallen on by one of the up men. Now they'll get the ball at the 32-yard line. Good strategy there from Norristown.
Yeah, not a bad idea, of course, again, knowing that once that guy's down, he's down. So with that ball skipping along the ground, Dan Slavin just wanted to get down and cover it up, get that offense onto the field. Well, Norristown's going to put the ball hawk, James Edmonds, number 17, back deep at the safety spot. They're also going to have Trey Hadrick, Audley Stewart, and Troy Swittenberg out there. So they have some speed, they have some size, and they have some cover guys. They have a bunch of guys back in that deep defense.
First down for Truman. Trevor Smith forced to throw the ball now. Looking. Doug White got him. Good pursuit by Doug White. Trevor Smith could not find a man, and Doug White gets the sack.
Yeah, and at this point, Trevor Smith's got to start pulling the trigger. And Norristown has to take advantage of it. And this is what we were saying earlier. You have to take Trevor Smith, pull the trigger, throw the ball, and beat us. And at this point, he's only a sophomore. And he really runs the ball well, but he is a little bit gun-shy pulling that trigger. And that is a busted play right there.
Real confusion from Truman. They had receivers running all over the place. Looked like they might have even gotten a lineman out there as a receiver. And a busted play, and Smith's just got to run the ball for 2 yards. That's not going to do the job for Truman.
Yeah, and they're in a hurry up. They have used a lot of their timeouts. Now they have too many guys on the field.
Smith
That's
looking
a pick.
deep. And just batted down by Audley Stewart there.
Yeah, James Edmonds is playing center field, and man, he couldn't have waited any longer for that one. And Audley Stewart just goes up and makes sure he bats that one down. Greg, it's a shame to see a game that was so close end like this, but the Truman Tigers have put every bad second half they've had this season into the last minute 24 of this game.
Well, folks, James Edmonds isn't back to return a punt. He is the deep man. Chris Blake on the field. We have 3 linemen. Everybody back in the zone.
And Trevor Smith can't get it back to James Edmonds. He's there to make the tackle. Chris Blake is there as the safety to block down that pass.
Smith now. He is sacked by number 15, Mike Wilson. 3-man line appeared to work on that play.
Greg, there's not much you can hear up here, but I heard Mike Wilson just absolutely drive into the lineman who was supposed to get him. That lineman was not ready for the snap. And Mike Wilson absolutely drove into him, bounced off him, and gave Trevor Smith no time to throw the ball.
So the Norristown Eagles, with a great performance tonight to come back from this, we have a timeout taken by Norristown with 14 seconds left. Wow is the only thing you can say. They did such a great job just to stay in this game, never gave up, got that last drive with about 2 minutes left, and in 30 seconds you saw how potent that offense is.
And I think what you see is that this is a team that really trusts the other side. The offense knew they were going to get the ball back a couple times in that fourth quarter. And I think the defense pretty much knew that their offense was going to put some points on the board. And that's, again, because Chris Blake is not a leader of the offense. He's a leader of the whole team, the whole entire team. Troy Ellis also leads both sides of the ball, but they know that Chris Blake is this team leader. They knew it was coming. They trusted him, and James Edmonds and Damian Solomon were just waiting to get the ball on that final drive. They knew that the ball was coming to them, and they were waiting to make the plays.
Oh, just a formality here for the Norristown Eagles.
Man, this is an adventure. We've had 3 fumble snaps today, although I'm sure they'll be real careful with this one.
Blake will take a knee. Folks, that'll do it. The Norristown Eagles on senior night couldn't ask for just such an exciting game. 13-12, they win this one. And Walt, absolutely amazing.
That sigh you hear is from the North Penn Scouts here tonight. They thought that they were going to have a clear path to the playoffs. They're just by beating Norristown next week. And right now, they're still going to have to beat them, but Norristown's going to be certainly real fired up. There is going to be no letdown next week now. They fought through the letdown tonight, and now next week's the big one.
All right, folks, once again, a 13-12 final here at Roosevelt Field. We'll be back to wrap things up in just a moment. Welcome back to Roosevelt Field. Once again, an absolutely fantastic game tonight. The Eagles win this game 13-12. Great performance, winning the game in the last minute and 30 seconds on a touchdown pass from Chris Blake to James Edmonds. Well, Norristown did a great job of staying in this game and fighting for this win.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the offense kept the ball long enough so that Truman couldn't put up a lot of points, and the defense made sure, even though they gave up some yardage tonight, that Truman did not put up a lot of points and that the Norristown offense had the ball when they needed to have it. And I think that's the key to this team this year. Norristown teams in the past sometimes have been driven by defense. This year it's let the defense give the ball back to the offense and then let them see what they can do.
Let's talk a little bit about that defense. They did such a great job tonight. And you have to go back to that first quarter interception for the touchdown. It's the first time we've seen it all year. Once again, a big play helps them tonight.
Well, I mean, that was big at the time, certainly, because Norristown looked like they were going to have a good offensive chance, and they sort of gave it away. And then with Truman coming up the field, then Norristown makes that interception and gets the touchdown. But obviously, I mean, the score's 13-12. So that is one of the two touchdowns. It's a huge touchdown, but you don't realize really how big it was at that point because that was the only points Norristown had. Otherwise, they go into the locker room at halftime being shut out by Truman, which I know they did not expect. So it was really big to say, okay, hey, we have points on the board. Forget how we did it, but we have points on the board.
And Truman, a 1-6 team coming into this game, really put up a great effort tonight. And John Slemmer proved something to me tonight. He is really an underestimated back in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, Slemmer's a guy who is not going to rack up a ton of yards. He doesn't have real breakaway speed. And I'm sure against some other teams maybe when he's got to be the feature back, he's not a guy you can go to over and over again for a lot of yards. He'll take the ball. He will definitely take the ball. But he's not a guy where you're really going to gain a whole chunk of yardage at a time when you need it. But tonight, Truman was able to mix it up a little bit, give it to a few different backs. That made Slemmer even more effective. And I think John Slemmer felt, especially after that pasting they took from Central Bucks West last week, that this was the time to make a statement. You could see that a couple of those Truman players thought this was the time to make that statement that, hey, we're still part of this league. We can still have an effect, even at 1-6, on what happens at the end. They just came up a little bit short.
Norristown next week, going in after this huge win tonight, going into a game against North Penn, and that has got to be the biggest game of the year.
Well, it's the biggest game of the year. It's the biggest game in a few years, actually, because, you know, take out some rival games against a North Penn and the new Thanksgiving game against Plymouth White Marsh. This is a game for the playoffs, and Norristown has not been in that kind of position this late into the season for a while. So this one, they win, they're in. And North Penn, it's the same situation, assuming they're going to win this weekend. So it's going to be an absolute brawl. It's going to be a heck of a game. And the good thing about the way this game ended tonight is the exciting finish wipes away all the mistakes. Obviously, Norristown will have to work hard in practice, but all those mistakes are gone now. They're out of your mind. You just know that you came back, you have the team to win close games. Forget the opponent, forget the circumstances. You can win the close ones, and it's going to be close next week.
Norristown doing an absolutely fantastic job tonight. Next week, they'll be playing at North Penn, Friday, November 6th, 7:30, if you'd like to go up and watch that game. We want to thank Mr. Tony Coyer, Director of Communications. We want to thank Monica Faust and Carl Baker for running camera tonight. We want to thank Garrett Hickman for our statistics. For Walt Fry, I'm Greg Fry, and thank you for joining us tonight on Norristown Area High School football.